Hi everyone, welcome to Varsity ASWB Exam Prep. Welcome to the channel. While you're at it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share the video so we can get more people watching the video. The more people watching, the more video I can make. Just a little brief disclaimer before we get started. I do not own, nor did I write any of these questions. I'm only using them to show others how to answer the question. So, I have 3 questions for us today to answer, and I'm going to go through the strategies on how we got to the answer. This can be helpful. I have 2 strategies. I'm going to use the first strategy to answer the first 2 questions, and then the last strategy to answer the last question. So whichever works for you, you can use them. I learned both of those strategies when I took exam prep training, and I found both of them useful when I was taking my ASWB exam. So some questions that in my head that made sense that first strategy didn't work for, I will use another strategy to answer. I know most people say stick to one strategy, but in my case, both strategies, I was able to manage both strategies while taking my test. So without further ado, let's get started. So in the first question, so the first strategy that I'm going to use for the first question will be this strategy right here on the bottom right here. We saw it's basically to answering first, next, best, shoot questions. So this strategy works. So you answer the question in order of importance using this strategy right here from safety on top to intervene. So safety has priority with feelings, assess, and downwards. So uh the list is the higher the worries on this list, the more priority it is in answering the question. All right. So let's apply that to the first question. There's a client in brief solution focused therapy with a social worker is now nearing the end of time period, agree to in the treatment plan. The client has not worked on any of the issues for which he requested treatment, but instead has spent each session dealing with some new crisis that developed after the previous session. What should the social work do? From my experience, most questions that have should, they are focusing more on ethics. So what is the right thing to do? What's the best thing the social work needs to do in a situation based on the knowledge of the social work and ethics and putting those together. That's what they expect in this answer choice, right? So we'll read the question again. So you have a client who is being treated with solution-focused therapy, a social worker, and is nearing the end of time, period, agreed on treatment planning. The client has not worked on any of the issues for which he requested treatment, but instead has spent each session dealing with some new crisis that developed after the previous session. What should a social worker do? A, rewrite the treatment plan to include goals worked on. B, discuss termination with the client. C, reevaluate client's original treatment goals. And D, consult with supervisor about the client's resistance. In this situation, A, rewrite the treatment plan to include client's goals worked on would be intervening. So you're kind of intervening the process. You're jumping ahead and rewriting the treatment plan to include goals worked on. That's not solving the problem of why the client is not progressing in treatment. Okay. B, discuss termination with the client. You could, but then you're not giving much effort. As a therapist or social worker, you might want to discuss with the client why this situation is happening, why you're not getting to where you got to go. So you might want to, because you're evaluating what's going on in therapy sessions. So you might want to talk to the client so you can see if you can to figure out something out. Okay. And B is jumping the gun. So you're jumping way ahead. So I'll consider that intervening. C, reevaluate the client's original treatment goals. That's a possibility. And D, consult with the supervisor about the client's resistance. You could do that, but that's not necessary at this point. So C says reevaluate the client's original treatment goals. So you want to look at what the client says he came in for, and then what is going on now. Obviously, in that process, after looking at that, you and the client can discuss um, their treatment goals in terms of what is accomplishing and what they intend to get out of therapy, because the original goals are not working. So you can reevaluate the client's original treatment goals. That will be the answer. All right, we go on to the next question. A social worker is working with an involuntary client whose children have been removed from the home for abuse and neglect. To increase the likelihood of the children's return to the home, what should the social worker do first? So again, we're going to use this what to do first, next, best, should. So the first question, the first answer choice says improving the children's behavior. We're not going to do that. This is all about the parent. So you see, your social worker working with a client who's been involuntary assigned to you. They remove the kids because of abuse and neglect. So that's a safety thing. To increase the likelihood of the children return to the home, what's your social worker do first? You're not going to work on the children's behavior, because this children were removed not because of their behavior, right? You got to remember who your client is. The client is the parent. So improving the children's behavior, that does not work, because that would be intervening. That does not work. B, confronting the parent. That also does not work. That also does not work. That would be, again, you're intervening again. And then C, emphasizing cooperation. That does not work for this question. Emphasizing cooperation, you are intervening again. D, meet the parents' needs. D will be the answer. So let's look at the question again. A social worker is working with an involuntary client whose children have been removed from the home for abuse and neglect. To increase the likelihood of the children's return to the home, what should the social worker do first? D, meeting the parent needs. If you can work on the parents and see what is the main problem, what is causing this abuse and neglect to happen, right? If you can figure that out, the chances and the likelihood of the kids coming back in the home goes up 100 times. So that would be the best answer choice in this situation. And again, it's a safety thing. So by working on the core problem that the parents have and fixing it, then they'll get to realize their behavior, their actions, and why the kids were taken out of the home. So once that is mended, fixed, or they're working on it, it shows to the court that the parents are working on their behavior and attitudes. So the kids most likely will be returned. All right. Last question. A young man comes. So this last question, I'm going to use other method that I use, which deals with the stages of treatment, right? So you got the engagement period, the stages of progress in treatment. So you got the engagement period, you have the intervention period, the assessment, intervention, and then treatment, and then evaluation, and then exit. So I'm going to use that in this situation to answer this question. So we have a young man comes to a social worker very upset because he's unhappy in his marriage and wants to end it. His religion, which is important to him, prohibits divorce. He states that he does not know why he is so unhappy, and that he feels guilty about wanting to end the marriage. His wife does not want him to leave. She has the support of his family and the church. The social worker first action should be, so remember where we are. We have a young man comes to a social worker. He's unhappy with his marriage. His religion, which is important to him, prohibits divorce. He says that he's unhappy and he feels guilty about wanting to end the marriage. His wife does not want to leave him. She has the support of his family and the church. The social worker first action should be A, explore the history of the marital relationship with the client. B, schedule a joint appointment with the couple. C, refer him for pastoral counseling. D, explore the client's support network. So in this question, for your client, you remember who your client is. He's the young man. So, he's unhappy with marriage. He wants to divorce, but he's not happy. His religion does not allow divorce. His wife doesn't want to leave him. He feels guilty about wanting to end the marriage. His family supports the wife. The church supports the wife. What do you do? So you have him as the client. Explore the history of the marital relationship with the client. That right now is not important. When you are taking the test, most of your answer choices will deal with the now, the here and now, right? So he comes to you, he wants to know what can you do to help him now. So exploring the history of the marital relationship with the client does not help. That's going back. That's more like a long-term process. Doesn't help the client with what he's feeling at this current moment. B, schedule a joint appointment with the couple. He's the only person. You're not a couple. He didn't complain to you that he wanted to do couples therapy and he wants to bring the wife in. He came to you on his own to help him figure out his feelings of guilt when to end the marriage, right? Refer him for pastoral counseling. Well, he shouldn't have come to you in the first place. He came to you for help. You can't refer him out for pastoral counseling. Doesn't work. Doesn't look good on a social worker. D, explore the client support network. So exploring the client support network is basically getting the client's feelings, getting the client to stick to you, how he feels since his wife and his family and the church support his wife, but not when to end the marriage. So you want to know who's supporting, who has his back. So D would be the appropriate answer for this question. Explore the client support network. Again, remember these: safety, feelings, assess, refer, educate, advocate, facilitate, and intervene. Um, when you're answering a next best question, you can line up the answer choices in terms of what they're addressing. Are they addressing safety? Are they addressing feelings? Are they addressing assessment? Is there a refer case? Is there a need to educate the client? Is there a need to advocate for the client? Is there a need to facilitate? Is there a need to intervene? And safety has more priority than feelings. Feeling has more priority than assessment. Assessment has more priority than refer. Educate has more priority than advocate. Advocate has more priority than facilitate. Facilitate has more priority than intervene. So this work most of the time. Not every question this strategy is going to work on. So that's when I revert down to knowing what stage of engagement are you in, what process in the treatment are you in, of treatment are you in. Is it the engagement stage? Is it assessment stage? Is it a treatment and intervention stage? Is it the evaluation stage? Is it the termination phase? So you need to know these things and where you are, and then always remember safety, abuse, and neglect, ruling those out, ruling any kind of physical symptoms before making an educated guess on the test. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Next week, we're going to bring more videos. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you. Have a good night.